Do
Oh
I sound?
no.
You guys can hear me well and stuff?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay.
Andrew, they're saying we have no sound. They can hear me, but then they're saying that there's nothing after that.
That's because I was muted. I suck.
Andrew, I love you so much. Oh,
So I just
yeah.
read through the numbers, but nobody could hear me. So with that, how are you today, Misty?
I'm doing pretty good, dude. I'm all right. That was so good. I love it.
That was terrible. There's too many buttons I have to push.
That's all right, man. It's all right. We're doing it live, right?
We
you
are.
know?
We
So how about we'll post the numbers for you guys.
We'll do it at the end. It's in the description too, actually.
Yeah. We definitely need like a spot where we can keep all that stuff updated. Okay, yeah, I'm doing good, Andrew.
Cool.
I'm doing okay. How about you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's been a good day so far.
I feel you.
But so we have a very special guest with us, Peter MacArthur. He is the organizer up in Ontario, Toronto, Canada. So how are you today, Peter? Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, really?
Uh-oh.
Really? Come on, Kevin.
Hey, guys.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. I'm not sure why that's happening. It just seems to be sort of randomly happening.
Is it just like booting you and then you have to come back?
It's just saying, yeah, it's crashed and I have to reload.
Wow, so, that's weird.
So we'll go as long as we can, but
yeah. How are you though?
I'm good.
How are you doing? Good.
I'm doing well. I'm excited.
Oh no.
It was just good in pre-show for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, we just had like whole ass conversation. Now there's like 3 of them here.
All right. Okay, I'm excited to be here for as long as I can be here, even if it's only 10 more seconds.
Oh goodness sakes. I don't even know if I should ask you a question because I don't know if you're going to be able to answer.
I know it seems like it's the questions that just shut her down.
I know, right? But anyway, I mean, you could try to tell us if it'll let you about what you guys have been doing up there, and what kind of events you've managed to organize and how it's going so far, I guess.
I don't think it's going to let him. I think he just booted him again.
See? Question booted. Oh goodness sakes.
Guys, I don't want to like totally do this to the whole show, so I don't know if it's I don't know if it's my computer.
Do you want to try to like completely log yourself out, like go out and then maybe try to come back and maybe that'll fix whatever it is? You know, unplug it and plug it back in.
I could give it a try.
I mean, it's worth a shot.
Yeah, or you know what? Maybe let's just like give this a try, and then if it does it one more time, then I will try that. I don't know. Maybe.
Yes, okay, it is.
We're going. So.
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to try to tell us now about what you've been doing?
Yeah. I mean, basically, I over the last year or so have just kind of just sort of figured out, even though I've always really cared about Julian Assange and issues of war, that with this case coming to a head and with him being yanked out of the embassy, it seems super obvious to me that this is the thing that should be bringing a lot of people together. So I'm not a person who typically takes like sort of organizing positions. So this is very much me just sort of like attempting to like, okay, let's get a group going in Toronto. And I know that there's been people doing this already, but I think that I need to try to find the people who are already interested and gather them back. And then hopefully, I think there's maybe like 10 people in Toronto who are sort of interested in holding events. If we can just expand from there, then that would be great. Like I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is sort of like the issue that there's no good reason for anyone who cares about freedom of speech or anyone who cares about like ending wars. Like there may be like a lot of differences and disagreements about all of these other issues, like what's the best economic system and stuff like that. But like anyone who cares about being able to express themselves freely or freedom of the press, like this should be the thing that pulls people together. And this should be the thing where people should be able to say like, okay, whatever reasons I hate you for, like if you want free speech and you want journalists to be able to actually, disseminate information without being extradited anywhere in the world, then this is the thing that people have to rally around. And it's super weird that it's not happening. Like
totally. I mean, this is the front line. That I say this all the time. I know people who watch the show are probably annoyed with me saying it all the time, but it is the front line. Every other thing that we're dealing with, if you want Medicare for all, if you want to have a Green New Deal, whatever that is, if you want to, get college education, if you want to get anything, this is your issue.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to fight for any of those things if you don't have the ability to, put out information that is legit and factual and not complete state propaganda. Because right now, this is very much a fight for the narrative. They want to be able to control everything that you see, hear, read, listen to, watch, talk about, think. I mean, it's really getting bad, and it's really bizarre to me that people don't understand how serious this is. I mean, this is really it's a turning point, really, kind of.
Well, I feel like 10 years ago people did understand that. Like that's what's so odd about this, is that it feels like or even more than 10 years ago, like say like after the Iraq War, like where there's like millions of people in the streets. And then, or maybe not millions, but like, close. And like, then years later, Julian Assange, when he released those, the videos and the logs and stuff, people who are interested in these issues generally saw that as like, oh, he did the right thing and we should support that. And it was kind of obvious. It seems like it was clear that that's what people should be doing if they're interested in these issues. And it's somehow that's been completely lost over the past 10 years, and particularly over the past like 4 years, alluding to something, that may have distracted everybody. And
but it's also there's been a decade-long propaganda campaign against Julian Assange to completely dehumanize him. They've made him into a comic book villain. Like, if you know anything about Julian Assange, because for the most part, you just don't cover it, so then nobody talks about it. And so it's very easy to just do whatever you want with Julian Assange and nobody's paying attention. But even if you do know something about Julian Assange, it's probably bullshit. They've done a very good job, and they've been very effective at destroying his humanity and his, and just turning him into this like weird, creepy hacker guy who's dangerous, and he's a national security threat, and he's a this and he's a that. And they've been very effective at making people manufacturing consent for what's happening right now.
Well, they literally made a smear for every political group there is and non-political group, right, to get them unsupporting Julian, whether it's Russian agent, Mossad agent, rapist,
he's anti-Semitic,
terrorist.
he's it's crazy.
I was the very first event that I saw you guys promoting, and I decided I'd try do one here. It was just me, and I was walking. I basically walked from downtown back to my apartment. and I had the sign with me. And I had the sign. It was really heavy. So at this point, I'm kind of like, I have it down. And a couple of guys see me. And I live in a neighborhood that's like just extremely liberal and left wing, and what I would expect to sort of have a reaction of we should support this person. And they just said to me, "Oh, what are you protesting?" in this kind of like enthusiastic way. And as soon as they saw it was Julian Assange, I saw their faces drop. I just saw them go, "Oh yeah," and then kind of keep going. And
well, liberals hate him because of Hillary Clinton. They've been told that he got Trump elected and that it's his fault. And so a lot of liberals, that's again another piece of, they've been able to smear him from all angles. Because he exposed George W. Bush, so a lot of Republicans don't like him, and they do the whole national security threat thing because that's a thing with Republicans and with conservatives. And then on the other side, for like to piss off the sort of lefty crowd, is they do the sexual assault smears, and they do the he's a Russian agent and he helped Trump and he hates Hillary and all of that stuff. And so they've really effectively smeared him from all angles so that everybody is okay with what's happening to him, because they've managed to make it so that nobody likes him. And it doesn't matter if you like him. Really, exactly. It really does not matter. I don't give a fuck. He could be the worst person on earth. I tweeted this the other day. He could be the worst person on earth, and I would still fight against what's happening to him, because it's not about him. It's not about Julian Assange. I don't know how many times I have to say it. It's so much bigger than that, you guys. Please. He's just the guy that is being used as a means to an end. And is his life still worth fighting for? Of course. I mean, I don't know him, but he doesn't seem like an evil dude to me. No. But regardless, that doesn't matter. What matters is that he is the crux. That's, this is it. Like, this is it. It's so much bigger than him. I don't give a shit if you like him. I don't care. No. It's so amazing to me. Most of the people who say that they don't like Julian Assange have never fucking met him.
Yeah. And they cares. Also, it's weird that their focus is that, because that's a super important point. Like, you can be pro Assange and anti-extradition, but if you don't like Assange, that's kind of okay, but you definitely should be anti-extradition. Yes. And I just feel like a lot of people aren't getting that. Like, they're literally not understanding that he could be totally horrible. Maybe he's mean to his cats, and maybe he's like all of the other things, but he's literally talking, like, releasing information about war crimes. So if you're going to put this guy away, like, you're doing it sort of to protect the people who have committed war crimes. Like, it has nothing to do with whatever petty reason you have for disliking him, or even legitimate reason. If you think you have a legitimate reason for not liking him as a person, it's like,
it doesn't matter. Yeah. There are lots of people I don't like that I would still fight for if they were if something like this was happening to them. Like, it just it's such an infantile way of thinking. It's not helpful. It's very weird and self-defeating. It's not about him. Jesus Christ. I, for one, would like to keep my First Amendment rights. I would like to be able to get accurate information about the, criminality and corruption within my government and others. And what Julian Assange offers is not conjecture. It's not opinion. It's not like some douche canoe who's telling you what they think about what the CIA agent told them to say. It's source documentation. It is authenticated, 100% verifiable. They've never gotten it wrong. Source documentation. Here's the facts. You do with this what you will. And I like that very much, and that should be fought for. There should be thousands of WikiLeaks across the globe. Well, people in power should be afraid to do anything wrong. That's the way it should be. It should be just a ridiculous amount of transparency. We should have all the privacy in the world, and those douche canoes should not be able to fart without us knowing about it.
The other group to keep an eye on right now, too, is Project Veritas and James O'Keefe. Like, love them or hate them, they're doing fucking absolutely ridiculous journalism right now, with people literally going in and getting firsthand words from major CNN directors about, like, amping up the COVID deaths and things like that. So it's crazy. Like, if you haven't seen that whistleblower footage, I would definitely recommend it.
I did, yeah.
I just wish James O'Keefe wasn't such a fucking shady character, man.
Yeah, that seems to be a weird. Okay, this is me maybe being a bit conspiratorial, but like, it seems to me, I'm just going to throw this idea out there, that it's almost as though like when Sarah Palin came out to be like, to speak out in favor of Julian Assange. It's like, good. Like, really, anyone who says it is good. But, and sort of the same with Tucker Carlson, there seems to be this effect of like, okay, so someone's gonna sort of say, okay, something supportive of Julian Assange, and all of a sudden someone who's very controversial to people on the left becomes the person who becomes a spokesperson for that issue. And it's as though, and it taints the issue for those people. And it's not really, I mean, progressives should be like, okay, if a person says something correct on Tucker, that's just correct.
But I think the solution there, though, is to demand louder left-wing voices. Because that's something that we've been trying to encourage. Yeah. Because allowing any political, like there's, if people who frame an issue like that think like that, they should be the ones being loudest about Assange. Because they shouldn't let it get captured by any wing.
And I'm not even saying this to like knock people on the right either. It's more or less just like the psychological effect that it has. And I almost sometimes wonder if it's kind of being done on purpose, like this like desire to sort of taint anything Assange related.
Of course, there's some of that. Yeah, for sure. Right. Yeah, they will stop at nothing. They'll do anything. They've proven that. You know, they're stealing diapers.
Yeah,
you know.
It's a strange barrier, though. Like that you encounter with people is like, oh, Assange gave us Trump, or Assange. It's like you have so much baggage to kind of like clip.
Well, it's hard because people are very emotionally invested in that story. People who believe that, but in my experience, it may take a few times if people don't like block you or like just shut you down entirely. But especially in real life conversations, once you are able to talk to those people and show them the actual facts rather than just what they've been told by Rachel Maddow, it's once people see reality, it's very much like Nils Melzer. Nils Melzer was somebody who totally bought into the propaganda. Like when he was approached to take a look at the case, he had no desire whatsoever to do so. He forced himself to after being asked about it. And once he did what, grown adults who are, faced with contradictory evidence to what we believe, that he changed his mind. And that people do that. It really is, though, a lot of just undoing the propaganda and undoing the misinformation and the smear campaign and all of the lies. And it's just, and again, they've been very, very, very good. And they've come at him from every angle so that it's almost impossible to, when people want to get involved in this case, you almost have to give them like a class in all of the smears because they're going to get hit with all of them. And it's very complex. It can be a little intimidating. That's why I'm so grateful for Caitlin Johnstone and that huge ass article she wrote. That is an invaluable resource.
Well, my favorite retort to but he helped Trump get elected is, didn't he try to help Bernie?
Essentially,
because
yes.
Everyone
but also,
forgets about the DNC in 2016.
But it's really not even about it's not even about that either, though, because if you think about it, okay, so if you're a journalist and you're presented with information that is authenticated and within public interest, and it comes right before a presidential election, and if you publish it, it could potentially help one of the two candidates. Do you publish it because it's in the public interest? And if you don't publish it, aren't you then essentially just helping the other candidate? So to me, that's a no-brainer. You just do your job as a journalist. And if you have authenticated information that people should see, that is relevant and, definitely within public interest, you publish it. That's journalism. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you think that he helped somebody, because if he didn't publish it, he would have been helping somebody else. And then the other team would have every right to be mad. He just did what journalists do. That's it.
Yeah. And it's really kind of obvious, though, the way it ended up, that Trump basically put him like, the Trump administration is not friendly towards WikiLeaks. I mean, that should be incredibly obvious at this point. And it should also be really strange to people that he appeared to be friendly towards WikiLeaks at first, like saying like, I love the WikiLeaks and all this stuff, before then kind of going ahead and like basically having him extradited. And also, I think Trump's been on record saying that like either Snowden or Assange should be executed. I think this was before. Yeah. So I almost feel like at this point with Biden as the president, it's almost like the perfect time to really just sort of push into people the idea that they're ultimately all doing the same. Like if people are going to be like, well, he gave us Trump, which is obviously stupid, but like if they're going to say that, it's like, well, Biden is basically just doing what Trump did. So what are you really saying that like, oh, if only we'd had Hillary? Like it just doesn't make sense, because they're all, like, basically Biden and Trump have the same policy towards WikiLeaks.
Yeah, well, it's just a completely infantile cognitive dissonance where, people just, if it helps their team, they're okay with it. And if it hurts their team, then it's the worst thing that's ever happened on planet Earth. And there's no intellectual consistency whatsoever. No. And that's what's frustrating, is dealing with this team mentality and this, if my team does it, it's fine. And if your team does it, it's not. And, it's really bad in this country, and it's by design. I mean, they are very good at keeping us divided and thinking that that's where the fight is. Y'all, it's not red versus blue, it's us versus them. I don't know how much more apparent that could get at this point. Look at what's happened over COVID, y'all. The billionaires have raked in a shit ton of money, and y'all can't even get a $2,000 check, a one-time $2,000 check. They ripped you off on that. They won't even, your progressive heroes won't even like try to fight for $15 an hour, which is an insult anyway. $15 an hour is an insult. Then this is where you find yourself. Like, come on. Can
I ask a question about that? Do you in the States people who don't have jobs right now, or we're in a place where it was locked down for a while, were they not actually getting any money from the government every month?
It depends.
There was some people that were collecting unemployment,
but it was not.
It wasn't much.
Right. There wasn't.
No. And it's now, not much. It's not everybody. It's means tested. It's
and in our beautiful country that is the United States, we have like, this is something that's affecting my family directly, where people filed for unemployment to get those checks because their job stopped existing. And then the government says, hey, you got to pay us that money back. Like, we shouldn't have given that money to you. Now you owe us that $18,000 and you have to start making payments while you still don't have a job and you're still collecting the money. You have to start paying it back.
That's so crazy. I
don't see why people would even accept money like that. Like, I'm proud of the fact that I'm a dissident enough that they never sent me the checks to begin with. Like, everyone else in my house got their $1,400 on the same day, and I'm like, I told you mine wasn't showing up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the one thing, is that like here immediately, like they rolled out this like plan to like, you just got $2,000. Like, you could, even if you probably shouldn't have. Like, there are people who are like who are on disability, who are like getting the checks on top of that, and then like having overdose problems. Like, it just became like everyone just got these checks like just right away, and then, which is a good, like, they shut everything down. But like, I can't even imagine being in the States and going for that long without some kind of compensation.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's like seriously the most frustrating thing that Americans have allowed themselves to get beaten down to the point where this is what they think is acceptable. And this is the best that it gets. And, this is just what we have to accept. And we have to red team versus blue team, lesser of two evils. Fuck that. Are you kidding me? It's the United States of America in the year 2021. You should have healthcare. You should have a living wage. What was that?
I was gone, but I'm back.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like it's amazing to me that American citizens are not, y'all, you deserve fucking better than this. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. They're not even fighting for $15 an hour. That's an insult. $15 an hour is an insult. Like that, like Nina Turner tweeted something the other day that $15 an hour is the compromise. No, it's not. $15 an hour is an insult. That's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, come on. The billionaires are raking in money hand over fist. They cannot. It's mountains and mountains and mountains of money while you're starving, while you can't afford to go to the doctor, while you're losing your job and you're going to lose your house. And are you kidding? That's not acceptable. You deserve better. You run this country. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, and there's more of us than there are of them. I don't understand why this is a hard concept for people to grasp onto. This is unacceptable. We have to start working together, organizing together, having conversations with people we don't agree with so that we can fight back against this shit. It's nuts. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little ranty today.
No, that's okay.
So, Peter, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about just like the state of protesting in Canada, because that was a conversation we were having a little bit before we went live. So I was wondering if you could fill people in on kind of what it's like out there right now.
Well, I mean, I haven't actually tried to go out since they brought in the extra police powers last weekend. They kind of backed off those police powers. Um, I'm gonna try. Like technically over the winter when they had a stay home order, they were actually arresting people who were gone.
Oh no.
We asked the wrong
Kevin.
questions.
You did ask the wrong. Good job, Andrew.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
That's all right.
Continue, my friend.
Okay. So, I mean, we have a stay-at-home order right now, and we had one for most of the winter. It was lifted for like 3 weeks. And so basically the stay-at-home order, it's not like a you can't protest order per se, but it's more like a you can't really do anything order.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Yep.
Just keep
It's
going.
the remix.
It was
It's the
doing
remix.
so well for a while.
These are the questions they don't want us to talk about. So please
I
continue.
absolutely, the part of me was like, okay, I guess we're not allowed to talk about stay-at-home orders. Yeah, basically, so technically you're not supposed to be out, and we had our Action for Assange protest on the 11th. It was me and one other person, and the police did.
Oh no. It was doing so good.
I just love how we're like a chronicling of internet censorship. Like if there's a method, it gets used against us.
Okay.
Stay-at-home order, protesting.
Yeah. So basically, I did go out on the 11th, and that there was an order in place. The police officer did come by. He did say there's a stay-at-home order. It's a $750 fine. He didn't give it out. We actually asked him if we could just have another 20 minutes in front of the U.S. Embassy, and he kind of said, okay, but we'll be circling back. So we stayed there for 20 minutes. Then we just headed down to see the CBC building, and no one bothered us there. We stayed for like an hour. So a week later, they kind of intensified the stay-at-home order and intensified police powers, saying that they could stop anyone anywhere, ask them what their address was, and ask them what their purpose for being outside of their residence was. And if you didn't have a good purpose, there was exercise or vaccines or the grocery store, then you would get a $750 fine. Then a lot of people got angry about that. And so the police have a bunch of the police forces have sort of backed off, saying that they won't enforce it. They'll need to have good reason to think you're going to a party or something. So I haven't actually tried to go out since those extra police powers, because it's really weird here right now. Like they've locked up playgrounds and stuff. Not kids' playgrounds, but like you can't play tennis. Like they literally have locks on the gates. So I have no idea how hardcore they are until I actually go out there again with stopping protests. There is an anti-lockdown protest that happens in Toronto that's actually quite big, and they don't stop it because it's too big. But I'm not sure about smaller protests. So what I'm going to do, I think, I'm not going to do it this week, but I think maybe next week, next Sunday, I'll just put it out there that we're going to do a little in front of the CBC building action, and just go down for like 12 or 1 and just hang out in front of the CBC building, because it's a media building, and my signs like don't make journalism a crime. So I feel like if there's ever been a more awkward place to be like stopped from protesting, it would be like right in front of a media building. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the place where I'd feel the most safe as a protester, is doing it there. And just to sort of see what they do, because this order ends in 4 weeks, apparently. I don't know if it actually will, because it seems like it's getting weird in Ontario. Like they're kind of hinting that they may have to extend the lockdown into summer now. But next, I'm gonna commit to it, so that next Sunday will be in action. Go down, see what's happening, just sort of feel it out. And if they do shut me down right away, then I guess I'll just wait until the stay-at-home order lifts in a few weeks, and then maybe try to organize one for the first weekend or first day that we're technically allowed to do it. So
Yeah.
I've only kind of just begun this group, so I haven't. I've never been an organizer before, so in a sense, like I don't exactly have a super great game plan. I'm kind of like playing it by the seat of my pants here, and I'm just kind of hoping that I can get even 10 people, even 10 people in Toronto. I know it's small, but just 10 people in front of
That's
that.
where it starts.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I have a pretty gigantic sign, so even if it's just me, like it's very hard to miss. Like I can hoist it over my head. It's up about 11 feet maybe. So
think about maybe doing some mobile protests, like getting some people. I don't know if there's regulations on like what you can put on your cars, but if you like get like that window marker stuff, and you can write like "Free Assange" and stuff all over your windows. You can all put like the same color ribbon on your antenna or whatever, like tie it so that everybody knows you're together. Drive slowly like through your towns. Because that's, you can do that in COVID, and it still calls attention to, and at least gets people, gets people's eyeballs on it. We're gonna have to get creative,
Technically, we actually wouldn't be able to do that here because you're not even allowed to be like out in your car. Like that was the expanded police power that they kind of walked back slightly, was that you're not even allowed to you're not allowed to be out there. They were gonna actually thinking about setting up checkpoints and actually asking each person, what is your purpose for being out of your house? But I agree, that's a good
Nazi.
idea.
That's like fucking Nazi as hell. Like that's scary.
Yeah, it is that and people did kind of, to the credit, the final credit of Canadians, because I feel like nobody cares in this country about rights. People actually did get mad about that, and a lot of the police, actual individual forces, were putting out tweets being like, look,
I saw that.
Yeah.
That gave me hope for the future, because I have I'm not a fan of cops. I think everybody who knows me knows that. And so seeing the fact that there was like a point where they were like, nope, we're not doing this. That was like, okay, we might have a shot here, because that's one of the big issues I think that we're facing. But yeah, I saw that cops just being like, nope, we're not doing that.
Well, my hope is that we can one day get the police to be the ones taking the locks off the gates and breaking down the traffic cameras and all of those things. Because until we have institutional power behind any movement, there's not like a union behind the anti-lockdown movements right now and things like that, I guess would be the way to put that.
Yeah. This shit scares me. It's getting really bad, and nobody seems to care at all. Well, I mean, people in our circles do, but for the most part, nobody seems to care. And then, we get shit on for trying to raise awareness for it, which is weird. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to, protect your rights. I'm an asshole.
I missed a little bit of what you both said because I actually cut out really briefly twice.
Yeah,
I would just say that yeah, no, I agree. I agree with the police thing. I've actually been like, okay, if I'm going to be out there and talk to the police, I might as well just talk to them and try to explain my point of view. And I actually think it's worked. I've actually, a couple weeks ago, it was one of the lockdown ones, and I was just talking to the police officer, because I actually have police officers, like my sister and my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is a police officer. My sister works for corrections or something. So I talked to them about this stuff. I'm like, look, you guys at a certain point are not going to be, you just can't really be doing what you're doing. And it's a weird thing, because it's I'm in their family, but I told them right to their face. And so now when I talk to police at protests, I've actually said to someone, I was like, look, I'm going to tell you exactly what I told my own family at Christmas, which is that you shouldn't be, there's going to come a point where you guys are obviously stomping on people's rights. We have constitutional rights in Canada too. We have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which is basically just on hold indefinitely. But I said to the police officer, look, you will have to answer to that at some point. This emergency can't last forever. At a certain point, the emergency is going to be challenged, and people are going to start challenging the emergency, part of the emergency where it was still technically emergency. Eventually there's going to be court cases and stuff over these tickets and stuff. And you guys are going to have to answer this, because they also, I believe, swore to uphold the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So I'm kind of in this mindset of I understand people who really don't like cops, and I totally get it, you know, but like, I'm kind of the mindset of like, you know what, I'm just going to treat them as people, which they obviously are, you know, and like try to kind of break through to them. Cause I feel like if they aren't going to enforce this, then the state's kind of over in terms of its attempt to sort of take away all of our rights on behalf of oligarchy and whatever. So
Yeah, no, 100%. I get that. I just,
no,
just
and I don't mean to say like don't say bad things about cops, because
oh no, I know. No, listen, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop saying bad things about cops.
I have negative. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like,
and honestly, it's not even. I mean, it is cops, but it's not even cops. It's really just the culture that has created this, like, just monstrosity of authoritarianism, and you know, it's not a good. It's just not good.
no.
So yeah, it's to me, it's not even necessarily about like individual cops, and I mean, they're kind of victims of the system that, you know, they are in. Not that I really feel all that bad for them, but you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to be diplomatic as possible here.
Yeah, I have the same feeling though, where I'm like, oh, okay, like some of the sort of like lockdown protests I go to, a lot of people there are really, they like the cops a bit more than I think that they should. Like they're always like, let's give a shout out to the police. And a part, I kind of get it, but I'm also like, okay, you know, the police they have a job to do and they're choosing to do it. And at this point, it's getting increasingly dubious by the day that they should be doing this at all. So I kind of hold back on the applauding, but I also hold back on the, you know, just being really mean to them. Like I kind of just take them as they come. But like, yeah.
No, I get it. It's kind of like the same thing I say about the military. I do not in any way at all support the military, the institution of the military, not in any way, shape, or form. But that doesn't mean I don't support individual soldiers who were victims of propaganda and thought that they were doing the right thing by, you know, volunteering to defend their country, and, you know, bought into all of the bullshit, you know, propaganda and the just like ridiculous tongue bathing that the military gets all the time. It's everywhere. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing with cops. You know, we hold them up as like these heroes, and you know, it's a very nuanced discussion that most people aren't ready for, which is unfortunate. But yeah, all of these, I mean, the anti-protest bills that are everywhere right now really, really, really terrify me. You know, some of them are obviously not ever going to pass, but some of them will. Some of them already have. I think, hold on, I have it right here. So I think 20,
I think it was like 29 last time I checked.
29 have been enacted, and there are still 69 pending. And that's across 35 states. And some of them, and they vary, like some of them are, if you get arrested and convicted for an offense related to a protest, you are then no longer eligible for student aid or student loans, food stamps, rental assistance, like just a whole bunch of stuff. And then there are other ones where they're giving immunity to people in cars who are at protests, who are, you know, like they're fleeing if there's like a riot, which is all very dubious. And so it's basically just, you can run people over and have immunity for doing so. And there are like a bunch of different ones. And like I said, some of these will never pass. But the fact that they are they're coming out at like a rapid pace, and it's all
Oklahoma had 12.
We have 4 in Ohio right now. There's 4 right now in Ohio. So, and Oklahoma has 12. Oklahoma is definitely the highest. But
like, what the hell is happening in Oklahoma? Like,
right?
Can anyone answer that? Like, what is going on?
Are there even like a lot of protests in Oklahoma? It's not like I don't really hear what are they riding so hard for on this? You know, like I don't hear of a lot of protests. Am I wrong? I mean, I don't pay attention to all protests everywhere, but I don't hear a lot of
the Oklahoma corn riots. That was the whole news in 2020.
Oh, we should apologize, Oklahoma. We don't.
Honestly, now that I made that joke, it may be in response to Bill Gates owning so much farmland.
Oh, that's true. And if you guys don't know about that, you should definitely look into it, because it's fucked up. Real fucked.
What's really crazy is the way that this stuff's getting kind of rolled out all over the world. Like there's UK protest bills. what's going on in your country. I don't think Canada necessarily has a protest bill right now. I could be wrong, but what Canada does have, though, weirdly, is this domestic terror legislation that they're trying to pass. And I can hear myself echoing a
We
little
already
bit.
have that.
I think Misty's echoing a little bit.
Oh,
But like, yeah, no, it happened at exactly the same time it happened in the States. Like the narrative's exactly the same. Like
Did
basically
someone storm your Capitol building in response to an
No.
election being stolen? So why do you get an anti-protest bill?
Exactly.
That's not fair. You
this
didn't have your
country
Capitol
so-
stormed.
Well, it's crazy because Canada literally, as soon as something happens in the States, all of a sudden Canada is just all over it and like acting like it's happening here too. And it's really weird because after that January 6th thing happened, all of a sudden it just became like, should the Proud Boys be a terrorist organization? You decide. Like that became like the new in the Canadian media. And it literally, one person rose the issue in Parliament. They're like, maybe we should designate Proud Boys a terrorist organization. And it almost like unanimously just got passed. Like they officially, Proud Boys is just a terrorist organization, even though there's like not really even Proud Boys. Like maybe there's Proud Boys in Canada.
and it's kind of psyop-y.
Totally.
No,
I mean,
because like Proud Boys are all like gung ho America.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it
very almost.
It's, you know what it is? It is psyopy. It's like okay, we've been feeding you this because Canadians. I mean, we are buying into the culture war the same way. Like people call it in the States like the two-party mentality or illusion or whatever. But it's almost like that's coming here. Like even though we have like 4 parties, that there's almost this culture war split that's been like exported and brought in here. And people are really sort of buying into that. So it's like people read about the Proud Boys. Like people in Canada were angry about Trump as though he was our president. And so, you read this media and then the Proud Boys are sort of like the villains for people on the left. And then Antifa became like the villains for people on the right in Canada. I mean, I guess we do have some of that stuff, but like not nearly as much. And they're using it in exactly the same way. It suddenly became like, oh, should we ban Proud Boys in Canada? Even though we don't really have Proud Boys, but because people had been digesting this media, they were like, yeah, I hate the Proud Boys. Yes, we're so glad that there's like domestic terror laws coming down the pikes. And people, of course, are completely naive. They have no idea that it's going to wind up affecting way more than just the Proud Boys or people on the right. But people here don't get that at all. Like you can kind of see it happening in the UK, and you can kind of see it happening in the States. It's kind of obvious now that the left is going to be censored and attacked, basically. In Canada, though, it's not as obvious. Like, it's like a different political mix, and I think people are cheering on. Like, I think most people are for the domestic terror laws that they want to bring in here. Like, most people, like, there's not a divide on it. Most people are like, yeah, right-wing terrorism, that needs to be.
Oh no. He said the word terrorism.
Right, too many trigger words.
Right.
He'll be back.
We're blowing the algorithm up.
Sorry, guys. I guess my point was just to finish was that we're really complacent here. Like there's almost no one who feels threatened by the domestic terror laws here. Like we're very, very gullible. Whereas at least in the States, I think that there's some people who kind of see where this is going.
I think you're giving the States way too much credit right now.
Maybe.
For real.
Yeah,
There's not
probably
anywhere
playing
near
that.
enough people.
Yeah.
There's not any. I mean, we still have people that are pretending that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is progressive and on like the left side. She just came out and said that like Joe Biden is working in good faith and he's like really exceeded her expectations. What kind of gaslighting bullshit is that? He arguably he is worse than Trump. He has been worse than Trump. More deportations. There are more kids in cages. He gave us less money for COVID than Trump did so far. He's illegally bombing Syria. He's eyeballing Cuba for a coup. He's already trying to fuck with Venezuela. I mean, y'all, really? And she's out here gaslighting you for him and gaslighting for a war criminal. And you're more pissed off because Jimmy Dore interviewed a Boogaloo boy. Are you kidding me right now? You are not a serious person if that's what you're. No, that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like the fact that there are still people out there doing that, still people defending Bernie Sanders, and pretending like there's any difference whatsoever between the two parties. There is no difference, you guys. They're owned and operated by the exact same people. It doesn't matter who's president, the same agenda, and it's just a different book or a different cover on the same book. That's all it is. These people are not, none of them work for you. And all they do is work off each other to keep you divided and to keep us hating each other so that we're not paying attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Sorry, I really am quite ranty today.
No, you're good.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm really sorry.
I'm driving my roommate nuts with ranting constantly. Like I tend to just go. Like I just start going, and I eventually see him wearing out, and I'm like, Pete, just stop talking. You're wearing him out. But like, yeah, I mean, it's ranting is fun. Like.
I agree.
Oh,
That's
like I'm a
my daily
ranter,
life.
but I really am on another level today, and I should probably just stop talking.
Oh, go ahead.
But
Oh,
Peter,
goodness.
I do want to thank you for hopping in with us. We're going to be having Oli May from the UK join us soon. So if you
Yay.
could, just let people know where they can find you, where they can find the Toronto crew, and your final thoughts.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Pete_MacArthur. That's MCARTHUR. I'm also on Minds. There's a link to Minds from my Twitter. I have an Odyssey channel. I think the handle is basically the same as my Twitter handle. At any rate, if you go on Twitter, you can find that. I'm hoping to get more of these actions, and I can easily walk downtown to where I would protest. So I'm kind of thinking I want to do like a once a week thing. So for anyone out there in Toronto, there's also a Toronto free Assange Twitter account that I'm running, and
Free Assange tea.
Yes, that's what it is. So if anyone is listening to this in Toronto, just reach out to me, message me there, and we can just arrange something. Because I would love to like get a few people and go down. But I think what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to figure out what day, is kind of make it a weekly thing where like every week we go down to CBC, or maybe we change it up and go somewhere else. But I'm just trying. I think I'm going to do another one next Sunday, and then we'll see how that goes under the new rules, and then take it from there. So thank you guys so much for having me, though. This has been really fun, and I love your show. Like I love. I feel basically like watching you guys and a few other creators just kind of keeps me sane and grounded in this country. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think we keep each other sane too. But yeah, thanks for coming on, and thanks for organizing up there. Yeah, it's cool to see these little groups pop up and to grow. So yeah, we're going to help push you and grow. And yeah, just thanks for all the work that you're doing, for sure.
Okay. Thanks, Misty and Andrew.
Cool. Yeah.
Bye.
See ya. I'm excited for Oli May. What time is she coming to?
Yeah, we should have her in a couple minutes.
Okay. Should we?
No, you're
I'm trying to get out of here. I'm just not exactly.
Oh.
The
Should just be able to hit the hang up.
At the bottom, there's like a hang up button.
Like a red.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Bye for real.
Peter.
Should we update on the missing whistleblower, or?
Yeah. We could do that for sure.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I just want to make sure that we get to this because,
Can you screen
it's
share?
definitely, yeah, I'm trying to find like a good, okay, here's like a good tweet I could probably, because it's from a friend. Oh my God, it's different. How do I do it? Okay, I see. Nope, wrong button. Christ, you guys.
They got so many new buttons on there.
I know. I'm sorry. Is that good? Is it up?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, so this is a friend of this guy. And he's been missing, I think, since I'll look at a different tweet. But yeah, so his dad was a senior executive at Deutsche Bank. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, you're saying that right.
Okay. I don't know if I trust you, Andrew. You're not great at but anyway, they found his car in LA without him. Nobody's heard from him. Hold on, let me see if I can I'll stop screen sharing and then see if I can find a different one. So yeah, he's been missing for, let's see. Christ, you guys, I'm so sorry. I'm very ill prepared for this. And this was even my idea to update on this because I'm a genius. Let's see.
That is pretty suspicious that like
Yes.
his dad committed suicide.
Okay, he's been missing for 17 days. Here, I'll screen share this one too. Okay, so yeah, he's a Deutsche Bank whistleblower. He's been missing for 17 days. His car was found with the key still in the ignition. He has knowledge of many alleged misdeeds, including those by the New York Times' David Einrich, I'm guessing. So yeah, they still have not found him. Nobody's heard from him. So I just want to make sure. And this here is his Twitter account. If anybody wants, why am I not following him? I thought I was. I bet you I was. And Twitter decided that was not a good idea for me. So yeah, go follow his account. Try to keep an eye on this. It's definitely something we want to watch. This is not good. Whistleblowers should not go, should not disappear. That's never a good sign.
That's pretty terrifying.
Yeah. And for his car to be found abandoned with the key still in the ignition.
And for his dad, who was a senior executive, to commit suicide right
mysteriously
before everything with him going missing. We have to look into that more. I would love to add that to the count. I think that would be.
Yes, 100%. We just found out about it. It's been going, but I just honestly I hadn't seen it come up until maybe about 4 or 5 days ago. So we were a little late on it. But yeah, well, we need to definitely try to get some more information. Maybe we can reach out to that guy that said that he knows him or whatever, see if he can get us, maybe we can have somebody on that knows him that we can try to get the word out. I don't know. Something needs to be done. We got to get the story out for sure. So
absolutely.
That's scary.
So
anyway, thanks for letting me update about that. Cause I was
absolutely, that's super important. That's terrifying. Someone shouldn't go missing because they expose corruption. That's some basic shit. People have a right to expose that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I have
basic
shit. I have an article here from John Kiriakou that I'm going to share real quick.
Yeah. Love John.
Should pull it up for you there, and I'll pull it on the screen. Gotta zoom out a little bit. There we go. Darnell Ferrales is a whistleblower. She is an important one. Few Americans will know her name, but we all should be thanking her. Darnella was the 17-year-old who took the video of the former Metropolitan Police officer Derek Chauvin murdering George Floyd. That video has become the de facto official record of Floyd's death. Where would we be without it? The Minneapolis Police Department's initial account was entitled "A Man Dies After Medical Incident During Police Interaction." It is said that the police had called the Chicago Avenue South address for a forgery in progress, as Floyd appeared to be under the influence and that he had been detained without the use of any weapons. Almost every word in that statement was a lie, of course. The weapon used was Derek Chauvin's knee. Thanks to Darnella Ferraz, we know the truth. And this is from John Kiriakou, by the way. There's a legal definition of whistleblowing, which many may be tired of seeing me write, but nonetheless bears repeating. The definition is bringing to light any evidence of waste, fraud, abuse, illegality, or threats to the public health and safety. That's exactly what Darnella Frazier did. Because of that, we now know, finally, debating national police reform in Congress, or we are now debating national police reform in Congress. In the few hours after the jury's conviction of Derek Chauvin, President Joe Biden telephoned the Floyd family to offer his support. He had said earlier in the day that he was hoping for the right verdict. Isn't it nice? And it's all because of Darnella Frazier's whistleblowing. Biden, though, isn't so responsive to the revelations of other whistleblowers, many of whom are in dire straits right now. Biden can set himself apart from his predecessors by supporting the work of whistleblowers, especially national security whistleblowers. He could start with the following people, but he likely won't. Joshua Schultes in Volt 7. Do you want to pick up reading, Missy?
Well, hold on. It's not showing up on my screen, and hold on. I was going to pull it up on my phone, but my phone's about to die.
I can keep going.
Okay.
Former
Or
CIA.
if you can send it to me in the chat or in the whatever.
Yeah, I'll just keep reading.
Okay.
Former CIA technical officer Joshua Schultes, who is alleged to have released the WikiLeaks information known as Vault 7, which showed that the CIA was able to hijack the computers in our cars to cause us to drive into trees or off cliffs, was able to take over smart TVs and turn them into eavesdropping devices. Schultes was tried on nearly a dozen espionage charges in federal court in New York last year. He was found guilty on 2 more minor counts, and his jury hung on all charges. Instead of releasing him pending retrial, though the judge ordered that Schultes be held in the notorious Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, where FBI agents from Biden's Justice Department recently raided his cell to search for additional evidence to strengthen their case against him. He was denied access to a laptop computer to assist in his own defense. His complaints are fully lighted. His complaints of a fully lighted cell 24 hours a day and the lack of heat were rejected. Schultes.
I have a charger for my phone now, by the way, so if you need me to read, I can.
Okay. I'll finish the part about Schultes and send it to you. Schultes complained further that he was being denied access to and visitations from his family. The judge forced the Justice Department to reverse that policy. Schultes still faces the prospect of spending the rest of his natural life in prison, and Biden's Justice Department is pulling out the stops to make sure that happens. So let me.
You want me to take over?
Yeah, I'll kick it to you real quick. Do you have it?
No, I have it. I have
Okay.
it up already. I just needed a charger for my phone.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniel Hale and killer drones. Drone whistleblower Daniel Hale finds himself in a similar position. Hale last month decided to plead guilty to 1 count of violating the Espionage Act for telling an Intercept journalist that the U.S. was using drones to kill civilians, including women, children, and elderly people, in violation of both U.S. and international law. The Trump administration went after Hale hard, and many of us thought that the Biden Justice Department would back off his prosecution. That has not been the case. Hale will be sentenced on July 13th. He faces up to 10 years in prison, and he still has additional charges to contend with. Darren Jones and FBI contracts. FBI whistleblower and former supervisory contract specialist Darren Jones is yet another example. He told his supervisors that Computer Sciences Corporation, CSC, had been awarded a $40 million contract improperly because a former FBI official with responsibility for granting the contract then was hired as a consultant at CSC. Jones maintained that this was a violation of the Procurement Integrity Act. He made 7 other disclosures alleging financial improprieties at the FBI, and he was promptly fired for his whistleblowing. Senator Chuck Grassley had gone to bat repeatedly for Jones and has demanded that the FBI reinstate him and pay him all back pay owed to him since his firing. The FBI has ignored him. That's where we come back to Biden. He certainly knows these cases. He was a senator for 36 years. He was chairman of both the Senate Judiciary Committee and the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He was vice president for 8 years. He understands what is involved in malfeasance in the intelligence community and the foreign policy apparatus. He can fix it. Just don't hold your breath that he will. Nice comments to the Floyd family and about Darnell Frazier notwithstanding. Yeah, Joe Biden is not going to fucking do a damn thing. It's not about Joe Biden. Again, it doesn't matter who the president is. He is just the face on the same bullshit. Like he's just the deep state in a blue jacket instead of a red jacket. That's all it is. These people, it doesn't matter. It's the same agenda.
They are like the outlets for outrage. Like they're the person that's put in the front so that way you have someone to be mad at.
Well, and just somebody to perform, it really is. It's like professional wrestling or a soap opera or whatever. They're actors. They're given their scripts and their lines.
Biden can't even do that. Biden can't even read scripts and lines.
No, that's true. But that's what I'm saying. That's why they just keep him locked in the basement most of the time. And he just comes out to talk about scrunchies and cardboard hearts. It's really, it doesn't matter who the president is. I don't know how it's not just completely, and people get mad still when you say that it doesn't matter and that both teams are the same. And really that's not readily apparent to you by now. I mean, what else does it take? I don't get it. What does it take? They both lie to you about war. Again, on matters of war in Wall Street, there's one party. Everything else is just used to divide us, to make sure that we're not paying attention to again, the man behind the curtain. That's really what this comes down to. I mean, and that's not to say that the issues that they use to divide us aren't important issues, but they're not important to them. They really do not give a fuck. They're just using your emotions to kick your ass. You know?
I think we have an Oli with us.
Do we have an Ally Mae? So excited.
It's an A.
Her camera and her microphone are both turned off. She's probably just logging in though. But yeah, I love John Kiriakou. Y'all should go support him. Go
I'll
follow
drop
him.
that article in chat for everyone for you guys to share.
Yeah. Definitely. I love John. Great dude. And Nils Melzer.
I have that chopped up, but it's probably at least like half an hour to go through it all. Nils Melzer's
The what?
piece. Nils Melzer's.
Oh, Nils Melzer. Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna have all.
We probably
like,
won't have time today.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's
we
ready.
could just drop it in chat. People can check it out.
Yeah, I'll put the article in. So while we're waiting for Ali to fully connect, and if you can hear us, Ali, I have Messenger open if you need to message me. Talk about your billboards while I get the article. I gotta pull it up.
Okay, billboards. Oh my God, you guys, the billboards. Holy shit balls. Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up. So I started this fundraiser. I've talked about this for a long time. And I don't know why I didn't do it before. Multitude of reasons. Anyway, that's not important. But yeah, so I decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And so I did. And I honestly was not expecting it to go this fast. It's been up for, I don't know, a couple days, 3 days, maybe. And we've already exceeded our first goal. And we're going to be able to definitely get a billboard or two in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio. And okay, so it just popped up. It's up to $3,395. What the hell, yo? That's amazing. So, okay, the idea that I have currently, and again, open to suggestions. I don't want too many cooks in the kitchen because that, like, a lot of bombardment of everybody's opinion will stress me out. But we're just trying to figure out the best way to go about it, the best way, like how to get the best bang for our buck. Do we want to get like one? We really just need to crunch numbers because a lot of these billboard companies will, obviously, they have like estimates of how many people drive past this billboard every day. So we just need to figure out like where we can get the best bang for our buck, where we can get the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposure. Where we can get the most exposure.
The most views, because you can't censor a billboard the way you censor a post on social media. You can't.
And that's another thing, though. We also need to figure out what kind of a billboard we're going to do, which also probably needs to be kind of specifically targeted to the type of demographic that might be in that area. I want to be smart about it because I want to make sure that we're getting the best kind of exposure in the right place at the right, you know what I mean? So yeah, like I wasn't expecting it to go this fast. So I'm a little like on my heels right now, but I'll work it out. We're going to work it out. I'm just trying to figure out specifics. I don't want to rush it too fast because I want to make sure we're doing the right thing, but I'm so pumped about how fast it went. Like, that's crazy. This will be like a huge way to get eyes on this. Allie!
Hey.
There she is.
Hey, Missy.
We've been having weird issues with Jitsi lately.
Yeah, it must be a Jitsi issue. Weird.
How was everything today? How are you?
I'm good. I've got to apologize because I'm down a railway tunnel at the moment. So if it's bad audio, tell me to go home.
No, that sounds fine.
But
yeah, you're fine.
You might hear people coming up and beeping their cards. I chose a nice little corner spot, but I just noticed a few people go and do very loud beeps on their cards, to check out. So my apologies. I'll try to mute myself when I see someone going up to the machine.
You're fine.
Okay.
We've interviewed you in the middle of a protest. It's okay. I think we'll be fine. We'll be good. So how's it going? How's it going? I feel like I haven't talked to you for a long time. What's up? How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. We've been very busy today. My feet are absolutely killing me. We have been a big day out. Million people marched today. And there was hundreds of thousands as well. And there were no police, heavy shit either.
Nice.
Which makes a nice change.
Yeah.
We hardly know ourselves.
That's nice.
And it was actually a sunny day in London today. which is rare, and it's sort of getting a bit warmer. So there was millions of people in town, in the city centre, mindlessly getting drunk and ignoring the day that's Julian Assange's imprisonment. However, it didn't really seem like it was before the lockdown. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like there was a lot of people around and people having a good time, but it just seemed so different in another way. But we had our protest at Piccadilly, and that was well attended. Had the big PA and told a lot of people about our stuff. And then Wednesday we went to Australia House, which is called the High Commission. It's not really they don't call it the embassy, I think it's because it's a Commonwealth country or something. Better find that out from my forefathers. And we did a little doorstop of George Brandis, the what you'd call the ambassador, but he's the High Commissioner. He was going out to his car, the Oz One car. So we went up to him and said, Mr. Brandis, when are you going to pick up Julian Assange? Of course, he pretends he's on his phone, looking down with his chauffeur, waiting with the door open, and pops into his car and zoom, head down. Someone's on the phone to me. I'm doing a very important message, so he doesn't have to look at us. And then zoom.
Oh.
Off he
Okay,
goes.
so wait, you just talked about going to the Australia House, right? Okay, so
Yep.
I want to show everybody a picture here. Did that just come up? Okay, there's our girl. Aussies against bootlicking. I love it. I love it,
That's
Allie.
awesome.
I love it. Yes, I had to share that with everybody because that is Allie right there. That's my girl. I love that.
I was not the only one there. There was about 20 people there. So
I know, but that's just I love you with your sign. That's so perfect. I love that. Aussies against bootlicking.
And there's also
great.
events going on outside of Belmarsh every weekend, it looks like, too. EF Press has been putting out weekly updates.
Back at Belmarsh?
Yep.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, is that growing too? Do you think the stuff outside of Belmarsh?
It's just back to what it might have been. Sorry, that was a big.
No, you're fine.
Lockdown
has really been hard on you guys. Like it's, and now you have the Kill the Bill protest bill that's ridiculous. So COVID's been really, and you guys are still out there. Like you're amazing, like relentless. Like I love it. But yeah, like
and we've got to ignore all these sort of things, the roadblocks they put in the way, and we've got to just try to keep our spirit up. But I've got to tell you, it's bloody hard, because you can imagine just like for a year, you can imagine yourself, you know what it's like. There's been lockdowns and, various areas in the city are really, draconian rules and ones that aren't so draconian. I look at Darnell all the time, his show, and, he moved to Iowa to get away from New York, etc. Having a party behind this damn wall. But yeah, just being at home and then being not permitted to do anything from November last year when we got arrested at Piccadilly Circus until very recently really puts me on the back foot, and some depression, and I sort of lost my bit of my memory, I think, because just not on point, it's just not normal. I used to race around doing so many things, and I was like, should we go out there? So we on the bus, the big bus we had a couple of weeks ago for the April 11th, we had empanadas on the bus, and I feel like I've eaten too many empanadas, basically, because you left over.
Oh, the bus looked like so much fun.
It did. That was such a great video. It was a small news channel that actually put out the clip that we used. I'll have to find it and put it in chat for everybody. But just watching you guys drive around in that, and then seeing the speakers at Belmarsh and the speakers outside of the Ecuadorian embassy, it was just wonderful.
And watching the reaction from people as you were driving by the tunnel and all, it looks so like so much fun. I have
That was
never wanted to
exhilarating.
be somewhere more than I wanted to be on that bus.
It was fucking exhilarating, to tell you the truth. And we were all just like on a high after that, because imagine like you could just go anywhere and just shout the shit out of the town, you know, like,
Yeah.
"Hey, Julian Assange, listen to us."
Right.
You know, we had like in central London, people just looking up at us in the bus.
Well, you guys have been chased around by police for fucking months. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys have had to deal with the spy cop bills that got passed out there with complete police immunity to break laws, and literally got chased out of Piccadilly for weeks, to the point that you had, like, two of you was, like, we're doing the greatest fucking job, like, going around the laws, still getting the message out and getting out there. So being able to just fucking scream at the city of London probably was just amazing.
It was, you know, you just a release of all that, you know, anger and energy, and just like, and after everyone got off, we go, let's do, when are we going to do it again? When are we going to do it again?
Yes. Yeah. Well, we kind of have like a similar experience. It's not as cool as being on a bus, but when we went to DC, and when was it? For Clovers, I
January?
think.
March?
No, for Clovers, I think when we got to walk through the streets, because before we had done stagnant protests just in front of the DOJ or in front of the embassy or whatever. And this time we did like a march through the streets of DC, and we were yelling like, fuck the CIA and fuck Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And it was so cathartic. It felt so good. So it was kind of a similar experience where just being able to just like yell out loud about it in the streets, you know, it's like
the best
therapy.
one was when we went past the BBC, which we said the same thing, fuck the BBC. And of course, we had a very good bus driver, so he just kept on driving around the same spots that we wanted to go. Yeah, well, okay, past the BBC
He
again.
was probably having a blast too. Like, he probably hadn't had something like that ever happen in the back of his bus.
Sorry, Andrew?
Oh, I was just saying he probably never had anything like that happen in his bus before. Like, he was probably having as much fun as you guys were.
Yeah, no, he enjoyed himself. He was a very, very good driver. And at that time it was just like been unbelievable. You know, it was like sort of being in a movie or something. You know, you won't even talking about buying a bus, but you know, like someone, that's what we'll do next. But it was well worth the money. It was well worth it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I just tweeted the other day that I wish that I had like Oprah money, because then I would just buy a tour bus and we could all like drive around the country doing teach-ins and stuff. And, you know what I mean? I need Oprah money.
We need a Roger Waters or a someone uber rich to donate us.
Yeah, Roger Waters has got to have a spare tour bus laying around somewhere.
Yeah, well, actually, George Galloway. Apparently, he went to Iraq in a bus. He bought a bus, one of those, and he went to Iraq with people, you know, when they were doing the human shields, before the Iraq war started proper. So he took a bus load over there, and I think he's still got the bus. So call out to Big George. Oh, he's so small, really. We need to lend your bus, the loan of the bus.
Yeah, so that we can drive around and teach people. Come on.
How's Eric doing? We haven't talked to him since we were doing a recap of his arrest. Is everything going good for him? I know there wasn't formal charges, I don't think. Yeah.
Yes, he has got formal charges. So what they've chosen to do, what we did earlier, we said we're going to fight all these charges and we're not going to pay those fines. We're going to fight them on behalf of Julian Assange. We've got human rights lawyers and legal aid to do it. The police backed down on a couple of them, but because we haven't heard anything more from them, after we put it that we replied to the FPN fine, fixed penalty notice fine, that we were going to fight it in court. A couple of us have not heard that, but they're in, and he's got one of these things called a single justice notice. But he has the human rights lawyers him. So it might be Eric to the top, maybe. But Julian Assange in court, yeah?
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
We got a meeting with the lawyers on Monday. So, I go over there and help him do a Zoom meeting with them. I probably should have mentioned the platform. I've probably been bugged by the CIA now.
We're all under surveillance. It's okay. They are.
Yeah, we're on multiple lists, and I have no doubt.
That's why we do most of our organizing in the open, is because they're going to watch and listen anyway. So we'll just have everyone involved.
That's right. We had a funny little incident at the embassy or the Australian High Commission on Wednesday, actually. I did actually ask George Brandis, as I said, when he was going to speak up for Julian Assange. Got no reply. And then when I put my next permit in, because they make us do permits, the policeman who sorts them out replied to me, "Oh, we had a reported incident. Someone being chased into a car. One of you protesters into a car. This isn't on with the social distancing rules. This is just not, acceptable. Unfortunately, just that was all he said." And I said, "Oh, because I was there the whole time. I had no incidents of anyone getting chased." And but there were a group of workmen, like workmen, but they had cop. You know what I mean by cop beards? Over in quite a nice beard. They just look very cocky.
Mm-hmm.
They were dressed in workmen's clothes with helmets. But they just stood there, as we would say in Australia, breastfeeding shovels. Have you ever heard of that expression? Okay, so it's like when you get the workmen and they've got their shovels and they're supposed to be doing the work, but they're just like breastfeeding their shovels. It's leaning on them, yeah? And so they're actually not working. They just look like they're working. So there's a whole group of these ones. And then they stood there around for 2 hours or so, taking photos of us. And then went down this little tunnel in front of the embassy. Then came out the tunnel 5 minutes later and then went home. That was it. Bye-bye. Like for the whole time we were there, did no work whatsoever. So I don't know if it was them that reported it or what. But I wrote back to the policeman and I said, "Look, no report of any incident, but, where are people, blah, blah, blah." And then he said, "Oh, don't worry." Okay. So I said, "Okay, fine." So, yeah, they're watching us. They're always watching us, aren't they?
Yes, of course they are. It's ridiculous. That was my point earlier.
That's something better to do. Did you read the report from, I was just horrified recently. There's a guy called Alan Duncan, who is an ex-UK MP for the Tory party, has written a book. Basically, he published his diary of his time under the Theresa May when she was Prime Minister. And part of it spoke about Operation Pelican. Did you read about Operation Pelican?
I've heard it rings a bell, but I don't know if I.
Yes. So they actually had an Operation Pelican surrounding getting Julian out of the embassy, and they called it Operation Pelican.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Part of the UC Global case, right?
Well, yeah. But this is his diary. He gives an account of it. I mean, I can go to his. I can read a little bit of the diary because it's just incredible. If I go to my well, I don't think I can actually. No, let me see. Oh no, I better not do that. Anyway, I'll just do it from memory. Okay, so they'd made entreaties to the diplomat at the Ecuadorian embassy who was kind of resistant and said that Lena Moreno was resistant as well. This man, Alan Duncan, said in his diary, "Oh, we have to, try a bit harder because Moreno is being a bit resistant." And then it comes to April the 11th. The day is on. They're in a control room called Operation Pelican. One MP has worn a Pelican tie. The police go in. He describes Assange bawling, which is sort of like a British kind of word. In Australia, that means crying, but it means in Britain, it means crying out, not as necessarily crying, just making a noise and resisting and calling out to the diplomats inside the embassy as the police struggled to take him out. And then switch back to the control room, Operation Pelican, where they're all laughing and cheering, one person wearing a Pelican tie. And then this Mr. Alan Duncan says, "I did 200 press interviews with the biggest smirk on my face. Appreciate if you keep the sound down there in the safety control room." Only joking. Okay. They slammed the door. But yeah, no, it was just like this guy's diary is like fucking unbelievable. That they were in a room. When Obama was in that room, and they did the drone, the Osama bin Laden thing, and they're all laughing. Yeah, it reminded me of that, where all of these really evil beasts get together in a room and high five one another.
I actually
Yes,
have
they're so
the
creepy.
MEB put the tweet out with the
That's one.
retelling of it. Do you want? I can read through it real quick.
Do it.
Yeah. So this is from that diary, Thursday, April 11th. Suddenly, it's game on. I'm told Assange will be sprung from the Ecuadorian embassy today. So I drop
Yeah, you read it.
everything and head to the operations room at the top of the Foreign Office. Operation Pelican is a go, suitably assisted with one official wearing a Pelican motif tie. We watch on a live feed, which ironically is available on the web from Russia Today. Bang, 10 a.m. 2 or 3 plainclothes policemen enter the embassy. We're expecting Assange to be brought out very soon after their arrival, but texts to the ops room reveal that he had caused a bit of a commotion and that had been screaming and bawling while edging towards the ambassador's office, which was at the point he was forcibly restrained. Then, with military precision, 6 police officers marched up to line each side of the entrance steps to form a protective corridor through which Assange would be bust bundled out of the embassy at 10:20 a.m. By this, Russia Today had twigged something was afoot and cut the feed, so the job was done. And we take commemorative photo of Team Pelican. It had taken many months of patient diplomatic negotiations, and in the end, it went off without a hitch. I do millions of interviews and keep trying to keep the smirk off my face. Thursday, March 28th. A small amount of humor in the tea room about Tory MP Michael
Gove.
Fabrinich infamous hair. It is woven with Axminster has wet. It's so woven. Axminster has met Westminster. That's probably a funny British joke. I just don't know what it means. And then he continues.
Axminster is a carpet.
Oh,
Axminster
okay.
is a type of carpet. Yeah.
I think, and then he continues for March 28th. I think I am nearly there with Ecuador to get Julian Assange out of their London embassy. It has taken 3 months of delicate negotiation, but nearly. And that was on March 28th. And an interesting thing in January, I think it was, when Max Blumenthal joined us, Misty. He actually went through parts of the UC Global case that I wasn't aware of, and it was outlining how the CIA, through their use of UC Global and the hopefully dead Sheldon Adelson, was able to interrupt international negotiations to get Julian Assange to get him diplomatic immunity, basically diplomat status, so he could walk out of the embassy under international law. But these charges.
We really need to clip out Max's speech.
I have it. We've shown it once on the Vigil. I have to re-get it because I'm not sure where it went on my computer.
Okay. Yeah, we really need to do that. We need to post it. We should really do that for all the speeches that we've had at our events and post them separately or whatever. Sorry. Anyway, random.
No, you're good. I just think that that's interesting to put that in context with that because he's basically through that process admitting and could probably be used in some way in the UC Global case, like that testimony from that diary. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but that sounds just absolutely outrageous. And there are, actually the comments in the media here after that part of the diary was published was that, what the fuck? I don't know why would you say that publicly? But I don't think you have you could the Axminster hair and the Westminster hair thing, it's full of it's just taking the piss out of everyone, it's Theresa May, everyone. It's just all out there, It's really weird because I find that British people sometimes are often there's sort of tendency to pretend they're nice, but they're actually some of them can be real backstabbing. And I don't know if that's sort of a race kind of, maybe it's got a bit of a race thing, but it's a tendency, it's just a cultural thing to hide your feelings, you know. I find it very difficult to hide it. They will kind of, you know, there's this uber politeness, which is so annoying sometimes, you know. And this guy just like laid it out all on the table, everything. So I'm sure that they didn't expect him to reveal all of that stuff that he did. But it's horrific, nevertheless.
Do you think it was revealed in like Hillary Clinton, we saw he died, referring to Gaddafi kind of way? Like not as an admission of guilt, but as like a admission of victory? Because I'm not sure what context he released the diary in.
After May, it seems to be that after Theresa May left, he left. And there were, you know, he just thought like, you're just a pack of dickheads. Basically, that's what he was describing all of the people in that
so it was like a coming to Jesus moment, like realizing that he had been one of the gears of the machine.
Well, look, I've got a good pension. Suck eggs, you guys. You know, I'm gonna fuck off now. Leave you to your own mess. You know, your own Brexit mess and all of that kind of thing. I think it is. You know, yeah. So yeah, but it's just to think of them. You know, to think of them and, makes me really angry.
Yes, 100%. Anger's a good word.
I know that, you know, I'm not trying to trigger you, but for fuck's sake, you know, like what a lot of great people there are there, you know. These people that just go around, you know, in planes and what have you, you know, dealing with innocent people in this way, thumbing their nose at us, at the truth, at justice and justice, you know, decency and justice, you know, all of the time. They're laughing at us, you know.
Yes.
And, you know, the cunty hide to then go and say that, oh, someone chased me to a car. Well, I'm sorry. That's your fucking job, mate. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that not only is that your job, but really that's the worst you're getting. Like, what, considering what you're doing to the people, I mean, y'all, it's not great what's happening right now. We were just talking about this earlier. Like, we deserve better than this, and it's, you know, we've just been beaten down so much that everybody thinks that this is the best that it gets, and it's not. It's not at all. And I don't know. It's really frustrating. I get really frustrated every day, all day long about this stuff. You know, and nobody seems to care. I mean, we care, obviously, and the people that we in our circles, but this is like it's a major shift. All of this stuff that's happening, and I can't get anybody to give a shit.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
You know, it is happening. I think people do. There's a couple of people that just walked off the street and walked onto our set with our banners. You know, when I say set, you know, we're at our protest today. A few people just went, shit, that sounds fucking amazing. Like, this is bullshit. What's happened to this guy as we were doing our speeches? Then they just walked up and stood behind our banners and fucking stayed the whole time. So, you know, I think you do, you know, you just got to keep on plugging away. There's another guy that walked up and said, I hear he's going to be released in a few months. And I said, oh, no, please, you know, like, I don't need to hear, you know. And he goes, well, aren't you positive? And I go, yeah, I am fucking positive. But, you know, I'm sure you don't know any more than I know, you know.
I'm looking for the video with Max, but I'm probably gonna have to pull it up for another vigil. I can't
What's
find it.
What's the scene like over there now? Tell me a bit about America and that, because we had.
Oh my gosh!
The London group came to DC.
Yes, we had Wendy join us. That was awesome. I was super excited to have her. That was.
I know, because she was texting me going, I can't find them. Where are they? I'm going, I've never been to fucking DC in the capital. I can't make you around the fucking couple. Sorry, when, you know. And then the next minute she's doing a speech on the mic, and I was like,
No, it was a really good turnout. We actually managed as a group to have on the ground events in LA and DC at the same time on April 11th. So that was incredible. She joined us in DC.
And that doesn't even include the other like sister events that popped up.
Yep.
Just
I think there was like
the
12 events
actions
or something across the country total.
which is huge. And listen, they weren't like monster events with like hundreds of people or whatever, but the fact that we're able to now branch out a little bit and we're able to kind of decentralize, and there are these groups popping up. There's now an official DC group. There's a group in Tulsa. There's a group in, who am I forgetting? There's obviously the group in New York, San Francisco, Tampa, Portland,
North Carolina.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like new groups popping up. And
The
starting
Seattle
small.
Portland group
Seattle.
is now one mega group, which is awesome.
Yep.
Is that Chicago?
What's that?
Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
And Chicago.
I don't know if there's.
No, yeah.
Is there an official Chicago group?
Yeah, that was Eric who we had on last week.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
He's actually, we're going to have him on Tuesday. He wants to do like a deep dive about whatever we want to talk about. So I'm super excited.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So let's like, I mean, and again, these groups are all starting small, but that's where everybody starts. But the fact that we're now growing and we have like multiple groups across the country makes me so happy. Like that kind of stuff, it makes it feel like it's worth it. Like all this is worth it because it is starting to grow. We're starting to grow. We are. It's good.
Yeah. And in Australia, it is too. Australia is just like going like mass.
They're going. It's like wildfire season for free Assange support over there. Like pun kind of intended.
Gangbusters, mate. They've only got a 1-seat majority, the government over there, and they're actually in deep trouble at the moment. They have a lot of sex scandals. One compromising the Attorney General. They're not turning up for work, like a lot of these COVID governments. And they're in really big trouble. There's a lot of these PPE type corruption type scandals. Dates a long time. So they're mired in financial corruption scandals and a 1-seat majority. And some of the who are in that party are on our side. Good situation, in Australia, good situation. George Christensen, he's actually part of that coalition government, but he's fully on Julian Assange's side, freedom of speech, and various, and the whole of the Labor Party there, which is the opposition party, the whole of it, 100%. They had a conference every 3 years and decide their policy for the next 3 years, and one of them was total 100% support Julian. Government sitting on a 1-seat majority.
Nice.
That's exciting. Like I don't really believe in legislative processes as a major change, but they show like a thermometer of where the public has forced them to. Yeah, so that's really cool.
Yes.
Because you guys have had tons of city council. Well, not you guys, but Australia has had tons of city councils speak out for Julian too, which is something that I've been hoping we can replicate here in the US by getting people to show them like, hey, here's what Melbourne said. Like, what can you say that's any better? You know?
Yeah. Well, over there,
I think that's a great idea.
Tony Wakeham from the Sydney town hall gatherings, he organised a group so he can actually auspice. So he's done a charitable organisation for town hall gatherings anywhere in Australia. So they can have public liability insurance through his group, Australia, to have a town hall gathering. People are doing it.
We're actually, that's something that we've been trying to work on for, I don't know, Steve and I have always talked about for the last 2 years now, is doing like town hall or press panel style events where you just go to a city that has a group in it, invite your supporters, and invite local media and people in the area to just come and learn about what's happening. So I think getting town hall events going is super important. That's something that I'm looking forward to trying to flush out.
Yeah,
we've been talking about that for ages, like teach-ins. It's just really, I mean, as soon as we started talking about it seriously, COVID hit. And now it's really difficult to even figure out. I think now that like a lot of places are starting to relax, well, I mean, it's some places are relaxing, some places are amping it up. So, I mean, we could be strategic about it for sure. But I think that's definitely the best
I would
way.
love to focus on the state, one of the 2 states that are like fully open, which is Iowa, because that's supposed to be like the electoral battleground of the country type shit.
Burmis could hook us up. Let's talk to Burmis.
I think that would be a fun place to raise hell city council at a time.
That is a brilliant way to do it because, when I think about all of this great reset and our future, how it's unfolding, I think the best way to talk to people and the best way to sort of to grasp what the going on with the world is to watch one of his movies. It's to watch, Fabled Enemies, or what's the other ones? Fabled Enemies. Like watch Shade.
Fabled
Shade
Enemies,
Juan
Change, Invisible Empire.
Shade the motion
Defined,
that's
Shade
a
the
good one
motion
to watch
picture.
because it's got Gates and all of them in it, the Bilderberger Group and everything like that. I watched the 911 one, and I just thought, I just couldn't stop thinking, if you watch this fucking movie, you will never believe another word that comes out of any of their mouths again ever.
That was literally, I was 17 years old, skipping class at college in high school, and someone was like, hey, you got to watch this video. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, but like that shit's fucking crazy. That was like my first exposure to like what is actually happening in the world. So I like the fact that Jason Burmis calls me a friend like makes me happy because he's such a like positive influence for change in the world.
Mate, he's the hardest working damn filmmaker in
he never stops. It's ridiculous, dude. Take a nap.
I like my podcasts. I've been a bit of a sucker for the podcast lately and on the Rockfit and everything like that. But he's not doing his own. He's on just about like the other day I saw him on 3 different ones. Saw him on you guys show, and he was on with the guy
he was on Union of the
in
Unwanted. He did Steve's show within the last 2 weeks, I think. He's been all over the place.
He was on the Vigil.
He was on the Vigil.
Yeah.
And he was on with a girl called Flex. Have you seen her? Just today, Flex, and she's just like this young woman, she didn't know anything, and he just gave her like an instructional on her podcast. Go to row on this or that. It was on transhumanism, and she was like, "What the fuck? No way!" And I thought, "I'm props to you, Jason." You could like appear as if you're like a real snooty kind of, I've been on, info or whatever. But he didn't. He just went, let me roll it out for you, Aris. Write this down, write that down. He was awesome. Yeah. So I highly recommend it to anyone. I want to get that and play it in public somewhere, on the bus.
Oh my gosh, I've been loving seeing the people doing the like getting those little projectors and then going and like showing Juan Passarelli's film on the streets and stuff. That's also super genius. If you're like in a state or a country that is a little bit more relaxed on COVID stuff and you can have like outdoor gatherings like that, I mean, get a permit to like put up a projector and a projector screen or even like a sheet, who cares? And like go and play like Juan Passarelli's film for people or whatever. Like that's a great.
We actually, when we were back in September for our like 3-week occupation of DC, Kimber played that live outside the Department of Justice multiple times, just through the megaphone. So shout out to her.
But I mean, like just like advertise it as like, hey, free movie, like have popcorn and stuff like that, free popcorn, whatever. Like come down and watch this movie, get people to come down. And once you see like the Juan Passarelli documentary on Julian Assange, I mean, it really does lay it pretty much out there. There's also that super awesome Matt Kennard video. It's only it's like less than 5 minutes long, and it's like why everybody should be concerned about what's happening to Julian Assange or whatever the title is. But it's so good. It's like in less than 5 minutes, it gets like all of the really key points about why this is such a big deal. And I've showed it to multiple people because it really is like just this concise, here's why this matters. And people have really reacted to that video pretty strongly. He does such a good job in that.
It's great explanatory, isn't it? Like, very short, but it covers all the points, succinctly.
Yeah. And just the fact that he can do that in less than 5 minutes is impressive because my brain doesn't operate that way.
Well, one of the things Burmis is encouraging people to do right now that I think is a cool idea to hop on board with is plan a Mother's Day event, like a Mother's Day picnic.
Maskless Mother's Day event?
Yeah. For not even maskless necessarily, but just a Mother's Day event for your community.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just have it be a barbecue, like get fucking burgers and hot dogs or whatever people eat in those cities and feed them the foods, and then have just an information table like this is what's happening in the news, and put info about Julian, put info about local lockdown restrictions and information about
the anti-protest bills that are everywhere. Yeah,
I think that would be a really cool idea. So if you're initiative or ambitious enough,
I mean,
out
that's
and
a great
start
way to
planning
get
an event.
information out and also form a sense of community, which is desperately needed. Because if we're going to do any sustained pushback against establishment powers, we're going to need mutual aid and a sense of community and taking care of our neighbors, because that's the only way we'll survive.
Yeah, mutual
Really.
aid and mutual defense. No one hungry and no one unhoused.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everyone well informed. I think that's a brilliant idea. I could put a sausage sizzle on.
Yeah, I think that would be an
That's-
awesome way to get people just informed about the world right now, because everyone's desperate for news. Like, everyone knows everything they hear is bullshit. So getting people together for a symbolic meal and telling them what's happening in the world, I think would be really cool. Because Mother's Day was originally, just to rant, I guess, Mother's Day was originally founded as an anti-war holiday. It was a holiday that came about in response to the World War One, and mothers wanted their sons to come home. So there was literally just organized woman power, to word it properly, that created Mother's Day as a way to say, let's end World War One. So I think having it be a way to push back against the global war on free speech and the global war against the intelligence state, I think would be a good idea.
Yep.
That's a brilliant idea.
Agreed, my dude. Agreed.
When is Mother's Day? Second week in May, isn't it?
Yeah, May 9th. It's always like the second Sunday in May, I think.
What is?
Mother's Day, May 9th.
Oh, yeah. And World Press Freedom Day is May 3rd.
Boom.
Mhm.
We got two big
Yeah.
dates coming up. Those are two
Yeah, and
weekends too. May 3rd, I think, is
And
a
Julian's
Friday.
birthday is July 3rd, which is right before 4th of July.
And we'll probably
So-
be back in DC for that too. That's probably going to be our next.
We need to
big-
do something for sure.
Yeah, because May 3rd and 4th are a Saturday, Sunday here in the U.S. So it's the
I don't
best-
know though, dude. DC during 4th of July.
We can make
That-
some noise. Like we interrupted a
Yeah,
false
I'm just
flag.
wondering
I
like
think we
how
could-
much
We'd
they're
have
going
to-
to be willing to let us do.
We'd have to get permits in like soon if we want to do national parks. I'd literally have to mail them or drive out there and drop them off like within probably by the end of the month or next month.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that out. We can figure that out.
We also have
Yeah.
so shout out to the DC crew as well. We have a group of people
Yes.
that were coming out with us when we were going there, and they're coming out and doing their own events and their own planning and their own organizing outside of
Love it.
this. So
Yeah, they have like their own local group now, and that's like one of the things that makes me so happy.
Mhm.
I love it.
Oh.
I love seeing these little groups. Makes me so. And Morgan, our friend Morgan, is helping with that group, which makes me happy.
We
Because
should have Morgan on next week actually. I still
We
have to set a
should.
solid time. It should be maybe Tuesday, but if not Tuesday, Saturday.
cool.
I was
Yay!
just going to say before, Andrew, I didn't really know why Mother's Day was how Mother's Day got started, but I also don't know why. I think in England it's a different day to what we
I think
celebrate.
so.
When we say we, in Australia we celebrate it the same second Sunday of the month of May.
Oh,
But in England it's a different day, and I don't know why that is. Do you know why they have it on a different day? If it was about the same,
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Maybe
It's-
it's like a different story, like a different. I don't know.
The U.S. offsets all of its holidays from other other states. Like our Labor Day is completely different than International Labor Day and stuff like that. So it's
American exceptionalism.
yeah. Like you
That's what
guys
that
should get
is.
on board with our Mother's Day. Come on, Ollie.
Yeah. We're too cool. We're going to have our own day. We're not joining your day. We are going to have our own day. That's
So
what that
it makes me
is.
wonder at what point Australia decided to be a little, little brutal along with its American Mother's Day rather than the Commonwealth's or the big queens. Yeah, just interesting. I'll finish that one up. So, but I think Mother's Day event is really because especially for Julian, with him in mind, Mother's Day is very important.
Oh, I was just muted. I just did that again. My kid's over here trying to be sneaky right now.
Police just walked in here before and said, "Did you call the police?" And I went, "No, I'm doing an interview."
Oh, that's exciting. But
Yeah.
but I do want to thank you, Allie. I think we're going to start wrapping up. It's about that time.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you could let people know where they can find the London crew as a whole, where they can find you and what you guys have coming down the pipe,
Okay,
and any
on the
final
website,
thoughts?
we've got a website called teamassange.com, and you can email us at show@teamassange.com, and I'm on Twitter at LNA101234, and Eric is on at Eric Team Assange on Twitter. Thanks for inviting me on. Thanks for playing the bus.
Absolutely.
too,
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was so fun. But yeah, thanks for coming on. It's always a good time to be able to catch up with you. So yeah,
awesome.
We'll talk to you
Keep
soon.
fighting, guys.
Yep.
Love you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
So before
that made my whole day.
Right, I love meeting with them.
I love
the London
Allie.
crew. The London crew, more than anyone, are the fucking heroes in this whole story, because they're out no matter fucking what. Like, there's literally video of them getting chased through the streets by police, screaming, "I'm press!"
Yeah.
while they're doing an interview.
No, and then there was also, I think it was James. He's like, "I'm exercising. I'm allowed to be out here for physical fitness. It was so good.
That was
so good.
And there's even
they get harassed all the time.
Yeah, so huge props to them. They probably get the most police state pushback. So I appreciate them turning out constantly every single week. They're always going out to Piccadilly Square and at Belmarsh. But
they're relentless.
I want to play an update here. This is EF Press. You can find them on YouTube at EF Press. I'm going to screen share this up real quick so that way Misty can hear it too. But this is literally just a video update from them. So tell me if you can hear this, Misty.
Negative.
We have come here today from all over, from the UK, from abroad.
That's great. I suck, guys. I'm so sorry. But go to EF Press's channel. I'll put the link in there before we go away. So give me just a moment and I'll drop that in. But
we're doing it live.
There's a speech by Emmy Buckland too that she gave. Huge shout out to
Emmy.
her. She has been Emmy B on Twitter. She has been going since before most of us even knew what the hell was happening in the world. So I'm gonna put both of those links to both of those videos so you guys can watch them yourself. Because they're both great speeches. And this just shows what the UK crew is doing on the ground there. I still have my screen share going. That's awkward. But with that, I would like to thank everybody for joining us. My name is Andrew Smith. You can find me on Twitter at Andrew Sigmund. You can follow us on Twitter at action_4Assange. And just special thank you to all the people on the ground organizing. Thank you to everyone that's watching. And thank you to everyone that's donated to make the billboards possible, because that's good. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, yeah. So I'm Misty. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I also have another show called Facts on the Ground with my friend Jesse Zerwell. I just started another show on Wednesdays at 7 called Bitch with Comrade Misty. It's literally just a rant show. Like, it's just me going off. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I'm really just winging it. It was very like within 36 hours, I made a joke about starting a show and then it happened. So it's fun though. Like the last one we did was really fun. So I'm looking forward to doing another one and keeping those going. It's fun to get stuff off my chest, and have you guys be able to vent with me is a good time. So yeah, definitely check out the Billboard fundraiser. I still cannot believe how good it's doing. I appreciate you guys so much. I cannot wait to get the first billboard up and send you guys pictures of it. I'm super excited. So yeah, check that out, share it. I think we're like at almost $3,400. So we can definitely, like I said, get at least one billboard, possibly two within the Columbus area. I'm also looking for potential other locations in different states. So if you have a location that you think would be ideal or that you think would get, a lot of interest or whatever, let me know. I'm open to all of those suggestions. I'm going to need help like scouting locations because I can't like fly around the country checking places out. So if you have a spot that you think would be good for a billboard, let me know. If you're willing to help, like go and drive around your area and scout out locations, let me know. I'm open to all suggestions and all that good stuff. So, and Somerset Bean said that they would help us design a billboard. I mean, there's already designs that we could just use, but we could also work on something that's more kind of targeted toward each demographic and where we're placing billboards. So yeah, I'm really excited about how well that's doing. Thank you to everybody that's donated so far. It's awesome. Makes me super happy. And I don't think I have anything else. I don't know. I always do this. One of these days I'm going to come prepared for these things. So yeah, I guess that's it. And then we'll just catch you next time. And I guess good luck to us all.